Welcome to That Chronicles, where veterans, we serve each other by talking about issues that are of interest to veterans. My name is Rick Prescott.
I'm Mike Ruffner.
And I am Jason Hertha. And you can introduce yourself real quick there.
I'm Allan Lynch.
Alrighty.
Allan Lynch is our special guest today, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. We may be factual, we may tell stories, or might just be outright lies, but we'll see where it goes from here, right, Al?
And regardless of all that, if you like what you see in here, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, hit the like button, also the bell notification for future videos. Follow us on Apple, Twitch, Twitter, Spotify. Pretty sure I hit them all. And thank you to our producers, 216 The Nets, for producing this video.
And behind the scenes is our producer, Kent Jones.
Yes, Kent Jones.
Hey, Kent.
It's worth 5 fingers, so.
Hey, welcome aboard, Al.
Thanks. Glad to be
It's
here.
absolutely phenomenal having you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. How was the drive getting here?
Good.
Anything major?
No,
Nothing?
just,
Nice, sweet
just
day.
straight down 120 and hang a left and hang a left and hang a left, and I'm right here.
You got the coffee in front of you?
I got coffee, so
When I was talking to him yesterday, that's the first thing he asked is about coffee. Hey, you guys have coffee there? I need my coffee.
life without coffee's not.
Well, it's easy for him to get home too, because all it is, if he remembers from back in the days in Nam, go east, and when he hits the water, he's gone too far because he's in Waukegan instead of Gurnee.
Oh, yeah.
So let me take around, get this started. Recently, I heard that you made a comment to your fellow recipients about taking money to be at engagements. Is that a true fact?
Yes, I did.
Oh, boy.
And here's what really got me mad. They were going to fly a group from a certain school, I won't name, out to Washington to tour the Vietnam Wall and all of this and go different places. And they wanted a recipient to speak at a dinner. The recipient in question, or several, live in the area. And the guy calls me up and he says, so-and-so wants $6,000 to speak. And I'm like, I got a real problem with that. I don't charge unless it's a corporation or, they offer, I don't turn down money if they offer it, but most of that goes to my foundation. So it kind of irritated me.
You can say the word.
I can say pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of pissed me off.
We don't have censors.
It kind of pissed me off that, that there's more to this medal than, and there's kind of a duty that goes along with having this, in my estimation. Of course, I've had it since 1970, a whole different generation ago, though some of my own generation like to charge a lot too. Anyway, so I go through all this, I get pissed off. I write this thing on Facebook and, which is kind of where I vent. And then I find out, about a week before this event's supposed to happen, I call the guy up. I go, you're supposed to call me. What's going on? Oh, it's been canceled. Well, thank you very much for letting me know, you jackass.
Well, it's kind of, just recently I was at a Marine event and there was a major general that was going, they have how they got cooties and on 40 and 6.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all that.
yeah. 40 and 8.
Well, we had the devil dogs and they do like a boot camp hazing thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, at my age, I ain't doing that crap. It's not that important to me. Well, it's a general and the general stopped and he wouldn't do everything they wanted. And I turned around and said, you guys, he can't. Just as you have the medal that has a standing, a person that accepts the stars has that same standing where they're obligated for the rest of their life to, promote the Department of Defense in whatever aspects that's involved. And I thought that, that when I had heard that comment, I'm like, good for you, because we talked about having some people at an event and, some of these companies, they want like $30,000 for them to come speak. Well, get out of here. Our ball costs $30,000. What are we going to do?
Yeah, to me, there's World War II generation raised me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad were out of the Depression, out of World War II, and we were raised with a certain standard that as you know, there's a certain standard that comes being raised from that generation, and I'm sad to see it's gone. That this idea of service over self and self-sacrifice, and I just don't like to see that happen. And it's happening not just it's happening across the board in politics and corporations and all this. I mean, somebody getting $60,000 for a 30-minute speech because they've got a big ass name. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I just
I think that's going to dry up because you don't hear their names. Some of the medal honor recipients of this generation, you don't hear the engagements coming up as often. Because I'm thinking, because like we're getting ready to do a ball this weekend, and it's going to be about 30 grand. But if they're taking 30 grand, we would have to double the price easily.
Yeah.
To cover for them to come and talk for 5 minutes.
And to a veterans group.
Right.
And to Marines. It's I mean,
They have to talk slower.
well, they would have to do that probably too, but
All right, come on now. There's 3 of us, and the loser would have to take you on.
Where's the plug for that mic?
In the back room putting on lipstick and drag.
Oh,
Zing.
Well, that's good for you because somebody because I'm like I was just reading Livingston was doing something an art he was turning around and say, hey, there's something on our Marine site about we need to go back to Trump. He's what we need right now to fix things and everything else, and he has a Congressional Medal of Honor as well. But some of us from the East Coast served under him years ago, and it's like, holy crap, here you got somebody else that's starting to speak up because if we don't save our state or our country, who will?
Well, yeah.
it's kind of that's a double-edged sword for me. It's
Right.
It's you get when I first came into the society back in 1970, there was absolutely, I was told, you don't do politics.
Right.
We represent the best, whether we are or not. When we put this blue ribbon on, we don't represent ourselves. We represent all of our brothers and sisters that have served, that are serving, and that have died, and on and on and on. So we don't dirty it with politics. The world has changed, and at some point, we need to be involved. I'm not going to say who I support and who I don't. Though I probably at some point do that. But if we don't stand up for our country and what we fought for, and what men and women have died for and been wounded for, and we let it go the way it's going with this goofy ass woke stuff, we're going to lose all the freedom that we fought for. They're basically tearing down statues. They might as well burn books, which is exactly what the communists and the Nazis do. And yet they say they're like, Antifa and all of that they're against fascism. Well, that's what the fascists do, is burn books, burn buildings.
Well, that's part of the tactic is the gaslight.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of makes you question your own sanity if you don't know what type of tactics they're using.
Yeah.
To create chaos.
Right,
Yeah.
create chaos and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And also too that I see a lot of people like, oh, the country's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm just gonna let it burn or whatever. But I'm like, with that type of mentality, then you deserve to reap what you sowed.
Exactly.
Because what did our forefathers do? They basically signed their own death warrants when the English were, going to come after them and all that stuff. And the thing too is, they try to denormalize human behavior. So, try to, I know who I am. So like, not to get into that type of full-blown topic, but to dehumanize you and just so you're just another thing.
Yeah.
Take away that your identity and so forth and create the chaos and whatnot. But there comes a time and point where somehow, some way you have to get involved. It, may not know what it is at the time, but you got to do something, or else they're going to keep taking stuff away.
Well, matter of fact, that's a good time. The segue is, Al, let's talk about after you, because you worked for as far as I know, very long time at their Attorney General's office, and you were working under the veterans.
Right. We established the Veterans Rights Bureau under Neil Hartigan. who was a phenomenal attorney general. This was back when the Democratic Party was actually for the working person and not for the elites. And so Neil Harding was a great attorney general. I worked under Roland Burris, who was another Democrat, a nice man. Then I worked under Jim Ryan, who was awesome. He was Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He actually took the attorney general's office and made it into, in my estimation, a real law office. And then after him, it was Lisa Madigan. That's when I retired. She was okay. I mean, she was a nice lady, but you know, that's as far as I'll go.
I used to tell people when I worked for IDES, I says, Madigan's protected because he's got the Senate buddy over there covering him. And then he had a Democratic governor and he had his stepdaughter.
Yep.
That was
His daughter,
Illinois
yeah.
Attorney General. And when she pulled out, it's like, uh-oh, the house is getting ready to fall.
Yeah, she wanted, you know, the whole idea, from what I understood back then, she was supposed to be governor. And when things started to happen, it was, I'm not running and I'm going to leave now and take my daddy's money and run. But I don't know.
So maybe some people don't know, what are some of the legislations that you were integral at that helped out the vets of Illinois?
We worked on the, well, this was back in the early 90s. I think it was still under Hardigan, where we worked on a bill to help the Veterans Assistance Commissions, which is near and dear to my heart. One of my good friends is Andrew Tangent, who just got some really phenomenal legislation passed. But we started the ball rolling. We used to, I used to go all over the state working to get VACs formed because they're so important to the county. They're actually profit centers. They bring money into the county, but because they're a separate unit of county government and the county and not accountable to the county board as such, they don't like them because they're not. They can't appoint people to them and do that, which is one of the reasons that.
Did they ever straighten out Cook County? Because I know that was a big.
That's on the mend. That's actually starting to mend up. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically what happened, and it's been on the books for years about the Military Act, I believe it.
Military Veterans
Assistance Act, but it had been on books for years that there was actually a percentage was supposed to go to the VACs to help, and nobody ever kind of pushed it. Yeah, because
it's what happened in almost every county. The county would say, "Oh, we're going to fight you unless we do a line item in the budget," and then a lot of the veterans who had seen combat, would just kind of, "Oh, okay, whatever you want." And they do a line on, which is what happened in Lake County, and happened in many. I think when it happened in this county and a lot of others where they wouldn't get the tax break.
You remember Bill LeFew? He was a treasurer for the county. I was the chairman of the VAC when this came up, and it was remember Jim Durain?
Yeah. Oh
anyway,
yeah.
He's down in West Virginia, kind of hiding out there.
Yeah.
We get Facebook back and forth. But anyway, he found it and we were talking about it. So it's like, well, it looks like $2.5 million. Hey, let's go after it.
Yeah.
Boy, he turned around, Bill came in there because at the time they were only at $300,000. He says, how about if we agree, I'll double what you're getting. And, okay, that works for right now.
Yeah. Yeah. What Andrew did is, because he's a warrior, served in Afghanistan, did some things and all that. Well, he's also a lawyer, and he's a trial lawyer. So when they told him no, and they started, trying to brutalize him like they did others, he just said, "You know what? I've been in combat. What are you going to do? Nothing you can do to me."
Awesome.
So send me back to Afghanistan or Iraq. Go ahead.
We used to say, "What are you going to do? Shave my head and send me to Vietnam?" Head's already shaved.
My hair
And you're ready to go.
Yeah, so I'm ready. So he took it to him, and then he got legislation passed, and then they tried to screw him around with that, and he says, "No." And so now Lake County and a lot of other counties are getting funded the way they should be, and veterans are going to be taken care of the way they should be.
So the strategy, I think what you're suggesting here is to ignore all the noise that they give you and keep your eye on the ball and persevere.
Yep.
And it works.
Well, it's just,
you can bulldoze over all the noise.
Yeah, you can bulldoze the noise. It's like everything else. Cancel me. I don't care. What are you going to do? I've been shot at.
It's called the Stockdale principle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's like a screaming toddler baby sort of thing. It's going to get all loud and stuff, but the moment you bend that knee, it's going to keep getting worse
Yep.
and worse and worse.
Never give up, never surrender.
You know
just
what I
keep
was
going.
always fascinated about is that Cook County used to beat up. And, I mean, I used to have vets come in my office for whatever the assistance they needed, and I had a lot of tricks in McHenry County. You know, housing, the food.
Yeah.
But as soon as they said they're from Cook County, I'm like, oh man, you're so screwed because they're. I mean,
Nothing you can do.
they had so many vets over there, but they were so extremely underfunded they couldn't do crap. And of course, the person at that time, the county board was putting whatever vet they wanted in there, and it was like a political appointee, which was a big fight. I think they had a couple of years ago to straighten that part out. But it's just amazing how Springfield can make all these laws to help veterans, but they always throw in a caveat that seems like, except for Cook County.
Cook County runs the state.
Well, they do.
And until Cook, the collar counties, and until Cook County itself starts electing different people to office, it's going to continue to be the way it is. High crime. I mean, I used to go to Chicago all the time. I don't go now unless I absolutely have some place to go, and then I go straight down and straight back. Chicago used to be a place to go. Crime is rampant. Why would you go there? I mean, there's other beautiful cities in the county, in the state.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to places like the House of Blues, things like that. I want to go to the cities.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Places. I won't go.
No.
You know,
I'll go elsewhere and get hot dogs.
We'll
and
go
not
up to
get shot.
Milwaukee instead.
Yeah, it'd probably be a little safer.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, you got to pick your times. It's like nothing, as my old man used to say, nothing good ever happens after 12 o'clock.
Right.
And
I thought it was like 2 a.m.
No, it's 12.
That's what they told us in Hawaii. And they were right.
Yeah.
I had to go down there in the city one time to fix a flagpole for a bank, and it was like 7,900 south. And of course, my wife's like, "Oh no, you can't go down there." She's one of these grew up in the suburbs, and I grew up on the north side. So I went down there, and I got there like 8 a.m. Took about an hour to fix all 3 flagpoles and stuff, and I was home before she got out of bed because she was her day off. She goes, "Where are you at?" I says, "In the city." And she goes, "Oh my God, don't you know it's dangerous?" I says, "No." At that time of morning, all the bad people go to bed by 6, and good people are going to work. I get that window when the good people are up and bad people aren't.
It was north side anyway, so it wasn't too bad. So south side is where you got to worry.
That's where I was at, 7,900 south.
Oh, where are you? Oh,
At
Well,
Jeffries.
before Harold Washington was mayor, we used to go down to his office, congressional office, at night, and nothing, no problems.
Wow.
But that's when the city had, a strong law enforcement. Even every mayor until the last 2 were good. I mean, they knew that you had to protect your civilians and your citizens to get things going. It's like, oh wow.
yeah. I got a buddy of mine who I met up with him, or we first met over at the Federal Reserve when we were doing law enforcement earlier as a Marine too. But then he became CPD. I'm like, you out of your mind? And yeah, he has the wildest stories of people on the south side and all that stuff. It's become a wild west, and hands tied behind your back basically with the law enforcement.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is I just saw even on Channel 5 News the other day that Chicago police down 2,000. Yeah, 2,000 members. That's huge. And
they were already down. That's an additional 2,000.
But you know what? You're right. That's right. The other thing too, I remember talking to a guy summer before last, and he was telling me that he was a police officer out Chicago, and he says he goes to calls. He'll take his pistol and put it in the glove box of his car. He won't even go in with a pistol. I said, "Are you crazy?" He goes, "Domestic disputes, you name it." He goes, "If I get into a shootout with somebody, with anybody really, my family are going to lose." And he goes, "I would rather lose my life and then they continue to get my salary at least." And I went, "You got to be kidding."
That's a good way of thinking about it.
But that's suicide.
Right.
Well,
and that's the environment where you're guaranteed everything is going to be against you. How do you do a job like that?
Right.
So anyhow, but you continued your service really after getting out of the Army.
Yeah.
You continued your service in the community by involving yourself with the development. Was it the development of the VAC?
No, I actually, in 1970, after I got them out, I was working at at Libby McNeil and Libby on 119th and National. I was making sausage.
All right.
And then I got the medal, and I got a call from the VA, and they said I could work in an office that was air conditioned and just talk to people about VA benefits. And it was like, let's see, hot and sweaty in the factory, loading boxcars and trucks and making sausage, which I won't eat.
I don't know. Sausage seems kind of fun to make.
Well,
I'm a chef, so I'll just be a smart ass. So.
well, it is fun to make if you know what's going in. But when you get a box of beef hearts that are a little old and they say put them in,
You're right. Yeah.
and you're like, oh dear,
Well,
you know.
yeah, it is the meat packing Chicago industry. So.
Yeah, it's Chicago, it's the South Side. You know how that goes.
Yeah. you have a couple mobsters ground up in there too.
Yeah.
in your wimpy burger.
I can hear it now.
That was from the movie Thief,
I
actually.
can hear it now. Forget about it.
That's a good Sipowicz.
Right?
But, so I went to work for the VA and became a benefits counselor, then went up to Great Lakes Naval Base and worked on the main side.
Cool.
And took care of Vietnam returnees. And then I went to the drug unit at the VA to take care of people that got on drugs. And then I became a benefits counselor and chief ambulatory care at the level, which used to be Downey.
Mhm.
Oh.
And worked there for 12 years. And then
It's a pretty good facility over there.
I'll tell you what, when I worked there, I told my wife, no matter what, do not ever let me come to this hospital.
All right.
And it was horrible. It was the largest mental health facility in the country.
Really?
They had a small medical unit,
Mhm.
Which was building 133, and the rest was all psych wards and nasty psych wards.
Wow.
And now it is a hospital that I have friends that go. They love the treatment they get.
Mhm.
My one buddy Joe, they saved his life because for heart conditions that he has, they referred him out to another hospital, a
Mhm.
civilian hospital. So he's been down to Northwestern. They rehabbed him, I think, at Marion. What is this? Marion Joy or whatever it is. I forget what the name of it is. Some big fancy place that they send people for rehab.
Okay.
So the VA has come a long, long way. Are they perfect? No, but no hospital's perfect.
Right.
If you ever had hospital food in any of them, they're not.
No thanks.
Well, I think the biggest thing about Level is that because it's a joint command, they got the benefits of young doctors in the Navy.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they overlap. I mean, I like going there only because when you walk in, you're meeting old friends, and you're like,
Yeah.
they're there for something else, and
Yeah, it's kind of it's always been a place where veterans would go to get treatment, but also just to have some family because a lot of the guys, especially back when I was there, their family's gone or whatever happened, and dad's by himself. Well, I got my brothers in the VA, and now there's they're taking care of female veterans a lot. When I started, the VA had nothing for female vets, nothing.
Wow.
They just refer them out. Get out of here. We don't want to take care of you. Now you got the full family care with the Navy being there. I'd love to see that happen around the country where you have this Navy military affiliation with the VA, because I think it does. And when they had Corps School, you see a lot of these young corpsmen pushing these old vets, and the vets telling war stories and kind of giving them that sense of history. This is what we do. Kind of
I don't know what happened with the VA, but remember back in the 70s and 80s,
No.
it was a dive. But I know you don't remember because you weren't even born yet.
Youngster.
But my brother had like 3 or 4 heart attacks at age 48. Got to the point where he couldn't even breathe. So he was on when I came home in 2003 or so, or 2002. I saw him, and it was like in November, and he was huffing and puffing like he just ran a 100-yard dash. And I asked him, what is it like? He goes, it's what it's like. He just described that. And then, but shortly after that, he went to the VA over at Level, and the doc says, I want to try some experiment with you if you don't mind. And he gave him a pill that relaxes diaphragm. The next thing you know, he's breathing like normal. As long as he's sitting down, he's breathing normal. And when he gets up to walk or whatever, he starts to get out of breath, that kind of thing. But we went fishing. We went out in the woods. We went camping. family reunions. He was very active because that gave him his life back. And just a few years ago, he passed away at age 75. So they gave him that time. And when I was there in 2002 or 3, when I saw him there in November, I said to myself, he's not going to make it to Christmas. But they gave him his life back.
Yeah, I thought
That's the VA these days.
Yeah, it is not a bad place to go.
Yeah.
It's and they're full service. I had a doctor I didn't like, and I got her PA when I went in for my annual physical, and he says, "Well, I'm going to set you up with, you're short on vitamin B, vitamin D. I'm going to get you those." And I said, "You're going to get me vitamins?" He says, "Yeah, yes, I can get you vitamins."
You need.
I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
I says, "Well, I'm having back issues. I'll set you up with acupuncture."
Sure.
Okay.
We'll crack you up.
Wow.
Those lidocaine patches.
Oh, and
Great.
I got lidocaine patches. I got I got a lot of them. And boy, I'll tell you what, because I like to be a little active, because I'm not going softly into that dark night. And lidocaine patches are the bomb. Man, I put 2 of those on, and I can do things I shouldn't do. I'll pay for it later, but
Sure.
Mhm.
then I go down to the other store. They don't pay for that yet,
Yeah.
but it works.
Well, we can have some fun now, Al, because you were a Vietnam vet. We have an individual here that got it all wrong during that time. He went to Canada after he served in the Marine Corps.
What?
Yeah, can you imagine back in your days, they used to run Canada to avoid the war. He turned around, Rick here.
I got smart all this stuff. I figured it out. I said,
Wait a
these
minute.
guys are going to be killed.
So you're serving in the Marine Corps.
Yes, sir.
You get an honorable discharge,
Uh-huh.
and then you run to Canada,
Yes, sir. Did it. Ran to Canada.
and you let him in.
I knew you wanted to have some fun today, and Rick's a button of all our.
You went to the People's Republic of Canada. You went to the real CCP, the Canadian
My buddies
Communist
up in
Party.
Canada's are going to love this.
I mean, you can't. There's no freedom of speech in Canada.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Did they send you to a camp?
No.
Is that why you came back? They were going to put you in a camp.
No, actually, I came back because I met my sweetums. But
Oh,
that's
you
what
must be
happened.
okay.
When I was on embassy duty, and I met this girl over there, and I don't know, we poked a little fun, and she took it a little serious, and I ended up going to Canada. Once I got, don't laugh too hard. But anyway, I went there, and I moved there, and I went to college there, all of that.
You went to college?
Yes, I have a university degree, believe it or not.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
What?
Kindergarten,
what's your-
college.
What? Second? What? It was a good college.
Was it
Yeah.
bachelor's or master's or what do you got?
No, I have a bachelor's degree in political science and a minor in sociology.
Really?
And one of my professors was Ed McBride, used to be John F. Kennedy's speechwriter.
Wow.
And another guy was an American, Don Landis, taught international relations, like he was a CIA agent. He just knew everything.
Well,
So,
I have
yeah,
I have an
did it.
associate's in culinary arts, so there.
Oh, he's doing that.
Yes, I know how to put things on hot dogs and just serve it out.
Can you
for-
spatchcock a chicken?
Yes, I can.
So can I.
Sounds kind of kinky, actually.
Yeah, it is. Well,
See, I'm not just another person.
yeah, you got
Of course
educated.
I got all educated.
I got me some
Good
education.
thing we're hearing your voice on the radio, so.
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, yeah, I came back in about 2003. I lived outside of the U.S. for 27 years. And, 2.5, 3 years of that was on embassy duty, and then the rest of it was in Canada. And I traveled from China throughout Europe
Oh, wow.
and you name it. So I
Did you
had a
have any
great time.
poutine? Like seriously, did you have any poutine when
Yeah.
you're in Canada?
Yeah, of course. That's a common dish.
Right.
You know what else they do on regular fries?
Oh, no. Don't even say it.
You don't want to hear it?
No.
No, I want to hear it. Mayonnaise?
No.
Oh,
Oh, well,
Well,
that's
a
in
European-
Belgium. That's
Oh,
Belgium.
That's a European thing.
that's horrible.
Well, the
Pommes frites
pommes
avec
frites,
mayonnaise.
yes, right.
That's in Belgium and
Right.
France, places like that.
See, people with the
But
poutine.
what Al doesn't want to hear is vinegar.
No, I don't mind
Oh,
the
there's nothing wrong
vinegar.
with
I
that.
like vinegar.
Yeah, they put vinegar on.
I think beef gravy on fries is like insanely great.
Yeah.
And with the cheese.
There are
curds
certain
and all that.
things,
yeah.
but there are certain things that real, like French fries
Mhm.
or freedom fries, as we like to call them.
Back in 2000, back when
1998.
when 9/11 happened, they were calling them freedom fries
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right before I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a disliking to the French for some odd reason.
Yeah, I
Matter of
forgot
fact,
what that was about.
recently, my brother asked me. He said, "Hey, I have a French rifle." And I said, "What is it?" He goes, "I think it's an FN."
Okay.
He goes, "You want it? You want to buy it?" And I said, "What kind of condition?" He goes, "Well, it's never been fired. It's been dropped once." Took a second.
Always running. That was pretty good. I was gonna be like, what does it smell like? Fries or something? Something real stupid and generic.
It was the pause. That was good.
Right. I was like,
But anyway, yeah. But I had an interesting career up there. I got into security work, got into law enforcement. I was a police officer up there, working with the Halifax Regional Police.
Do
And,
police officers in Canada carry guns?
Oh yeah. They didn't during my time. They did not in Newfoundland. Newfoundland still retained the British tradition until it started getting too violent. Once they had a few people shot, things like that, and they about halfway through my career, so
they give you a slingshot.
No, these guys would shoot them up. They shot up police officers and stuff, right? But when that started evolving that way, and Newfoundland is a beautiful province.
Oh my God.
An amazing place to go. People are just a different culture altogether. They're wonderful people.
Mhm.
And but when that type of violence started happening, they were trained in firearms, so they issued them. So they changed the laws and everything else and made that the case. But of course, they carry firearms. It's crazy up there. They have organized crime, Vietnamese, nasty organized criminal group in Toronto, and stuff like that. They're very, very violent. But anyway, moving along.
You ever see Letterkenny?
Who?
Letterkenny.
Funny show.
Oh yeah.
I've been,
Takes place in Canada. It's kind of like what, a bunch of
it's kind of like Friends.
something like that, but a lot more adult orientated.
Right.
There's one guy who they all like drinking, and one guy, the main protagonist, like
Oh
fighting.
yeah, my buddy introduced
beat
me to that
people
about
up.
a year ago. I said,
It's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
hilarious. It's kind of in the similar tradition of like Trailer Park Boys,
right.
but I think the dialogue in Letterkenny.
Well, Trailer Park Boys was right up the street from me, and those are the real deal.
Sure.
Those guys were from Sackville, Nova Scotia.
Oh,
and
really?
Trailer
Okay.
Park.
Yeah.
Seriously, and they got all of a sudden the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation,
Mhm.
and said, "You guys got to see this," and so they did an experiment with them, and then it just went crazy national. I didn't know that they were well known in the States.
Oh, yeah,
until I
they
came
are.
back home.
Yeah, my buddies were all like huge into that stuff. I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then I said, "I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now." So
Well, my generation was remember those guys? The
No.
Doug, my brother Doug.
Oh.
They had the
This is
toque, they had a Canadian toque, and it was
Nope.
all about Canada. And
Oh, Bob
Yeah.
and Duck McKenzie.
yeah, that's it. Bob and Doug McKenzie.
I used to watch Corner Gas a lot. That was fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was 2020 when COVID was, and I just had the whole year off. It was the best year ever for
Nice.
me. I did nothing.
yeah, I didn't do.
I walked
shit
in the
2020s.
woods. That's all I did. I went out and I walked. I was walking 5 miles a day with
Nice.
with a ruck,
Damn.
and it was just
Do you have a lot of cane patch on?
no.
Okay.
No, I was
More hardcore.
when that was my 74, 75 because I turned 75 October that
Wow.
year. But it was just, and I know a lot of people hated it, but I watched TV. I watched a lot of the different programs I wanted. I had no place to. All my talks to schools were via Zoom.
Okay.
So I put my shirt on, put the medal on, and
Oh,
go up, give my speech, take my jacket off, walk down in my pajama pants, and and funniest thing, I go out to the woods where there's nobody there except maybe one or two cars, people, and I'm walking in the woods, and here's people in the middle of the woods wearing a mask, and I'm like,
Really?
This is why we have been so dumbed down. I saw people even right now, just like
Driving.
yesterday, driving in a car by himself,
Yeah.
wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, I see it every now and still. Yeah.
And it's like, this is why we're going to be taken over, because we have become so stupid.
We can be led into the
Smooth
craziest thing.
brains.
Yes,
Yeah.
very smooth.
Yep.
Wow.
But yeah, I thought
unbelievable.
2020 was kind of a right. Well, no pun intended, but a hoot, because like you really see the stupidity of
Oh my
people
God.
and all this stuff. And then here I am thinking I'm all like being risky and shit, like sneaking across the border, go to Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and where they're all open. And then I was going to Florida. I'm like, oh, this is great. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
We actually
And
found
Illinois is
place-
locked. Of course, Illinois locks down, and Pritzker
Yeah.
goes to Florida.
Goes to Florida.
Yeah, and then bitches about Florida.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, we were trying to find places for Red Shirt Friday and places that would stay open and all that. And I thought it was a great time actually, because like
We found some good places.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisconsin's great.
Yeah.
For the benefit of our listeners, Red Shirt Friday is when we get together with a bunch of veterans. We all wear a red shirt, remember everyone deployed red. And we go to a bar. We'll have
Go to a
probably
red
15 or
red.
20 of us there, have a nice meal, beer.
Yeah, we went to
little social.
Doyle's, Sophie's, we were Nico's. We had a handful of places that they're like, screw what the governor says.
Yeah.
And we
Right.
went there, and
A couple places in Wisconsin. What was it? I think Herner's Hideaway was.
Yeah.
We've been there one time. It was all right. It was kind of small though, and
Yeah.
then
they do have a back area to it
The
too.
Twisted Oar or something like that.
Twisted Spoke.
Yeah.
I think you're getting
Broken.
Broken Oar
Oar.
and that one
And Broken Spoke.
smashed together.
Broken Spoke. That's the one.
Yeah.
Broken Spoke. That's what it was.
But yeah, I like Broken Spoke. They actually have pretty good.
That was a nice place.
Food, pretty big.
Yep.
It was
food
like an
good.
old American Legion, I think it was back in the day. Or
Yeah.
something.
And then we had a Christmas party at my house. We had about 40 people over there.
I think I was in Florida at the time. I was like, "F y'all, I'm going someplace warm."
And when we were boycotted from the VFW, we had one of our guys had a farm. We went out there.
Oh yeah, that was
Bring,
great.
bring your own beer. We're
Yeah.
having a meeting.
That
Yeah,
was one of the best meetings we ever had. After the meeting, it was so fun. He breaks out this Daisy BB gun.
Oh
and,
my
and,
gosh.
and of course, a bunch of jarheads there.
I gotta shoot it.
And half of them was drinking beer. And we went outside and we were shooting beer cans with this BB gun. Had a great time. We were out there for hours. So
Al, talk about your foundation. I know when I was on the job, we been around contact a couple times to help out some vets.
Yeah.
But how's your foundation been sliding along?
It's good. We started in 2012, December 2012, when we helped our first vet. We used to do because I was still pretty skilled in it, we did some casework, and I would, we'd do grants for veterans at that point. Now what we do is we help other organizations. One of the organizations we help is Dark Horse Lodge.
Mhm.
And Catherwood had a son that was killed, Gretchen, and we just did Trek for the Troops out in Rockford.
Mhm.
Byron, I'm sorry, Byron. But we've helped them build their place down in Tennessee. We work with Veteran Smile, and the idea is we give grants to organizations that want to help vets. So they do all the veteran vetting, or they run them through a VAC to help us out in Illinois. So that's what we do. We're now going to be working with 100 Pretty Purses. We're going to meet with Yvette, who does that for female vets. So we're trying to do some things there.
what's the name of your foundation?
And I did not pick the name. It's the Allan Lynch Medal of Honor Veterans Foundation.
Fantastic.
We started back in 2012 with my buddy John Schwan, Bruce Peterson, and Paul Bryan, the car guy. And so we used my name, much to my chagrin. But
It goes with the territory.
yeah, well, that's what they
Suck it
said.
up, buddy.
Yeah, they said, you're a national treasure. So
And you are.
yeah, thank you very much. But we've done a lot of good work. We've worked with Veteran Smiles. We've worked with Catholic Charities and got veterans computers, laptops, and
Nice.
bicycles. And if the VAC has a vet that they can help, we can chip in and help. It's like, if a veterans every vet has too much month at the end of the money. So let's say the McHenry VAC says, look, I got a vet, can't help him out because he doesn't meet the criteria, but he needs to get his car fixed. we'll cut a check for that.
Mhm.
We
Wow.
just helped Veteran Scholarship Program, Warrior Scholarship Program with a grant for their conference going to happen in July of next year. So we're going to be on as one of the sponsors there. I had a great time. They had me, they interviewed me, and we did kind of a sit down and kind of a talk back and forth kind of thing, which was fun. So that's what we do.
Mhm.
You get a lot of support from the corporate community and all of that, or
We're getting there. Our organization, nobody takes a dime. So other than money we have to spend for fundraising, every dime we get goes to help veterans. So our next event is a dinner in Rockford on February 16th, and we have Gretchen as Catherwood's going to be speaking, and so we just do what we can do.
awesome.
We do what
That's
we can do.
fantastic.
You
So
know,
we like helping. So you're more, if your detachment has a vet that needs help, we'll cut you a check and you can help the vet.
But we have the Marine Corps Coordinating Council. We get the proceeds from the Marine License Plate Program. Of course, I'm surprised. I'm just amazed at how many the Secretary of State, how many different plates they have out there. But it's like we get like $19 for every plate that a person.
Nice.
So we get about 150 grand a year, and then we do the stuff where mostly scholarships, some assistance. We helped the Young Marine Program, the Marine Corps ROTC program, because some of their funding was cutting in high school, in the schools and stuff, to help out. So we're kind of working on that, but it's almost like one of those things that if the state didn't have so many plates, there'd be a lot more people that would be involved.
Yeah. It's a matter of we like to help organizations like we're going to be giving a grant to Bravehearts, one of my favorites. And what sold me, I don't know if you know this organization called Oscar Mike.
Oscar Mike.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We know them.
Well, I got introduced to Bravehearts when I saw him. I can't remember his
Noah
name.
Courier.
Noah Courier sitting on a horse, who's pretty much a quad, sitting on a horse, and big smile on his face. And so I've just got back in contact with them, so we're going to be issuing them a grant.
Yeah, I think the story goes with he got back from Iraq and got in a car accident out there at Pendleton, and that's how.
Yeah, of all the things.
All right. Wow.
Now go to combat, live through that without a scratch, and then has a car accident.
And that's one of those. It's like, are you kidding me? But just
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff happens when you're not in combat either, because when we're getting safety briefs before we go out and leave and all that stuff for Liberty, they're like, yeah, all the goofy stuff happens when you're out in town and all this stuff, so be careful.
We had a stretch there because I used to go down to the city a lot doing our veteran stuff or work, whatever. But you see these crotch rockets, and you can tell they're Iraqi vets, and I was like, it's as fast as that bike will go. And then I'm like, this is not. It's Sunday morning, and they're racing down. Shortly afterward, I think in Willow Road, they got in an accident. Somebody got killed. And it's like,
well,
the adrenaline rush that they had.
That's one of the major problems I had when I got back from Nam was nothing. There was nothing like that adrenaline rush from it's your life and everything you do matters. I mean, I used to smoke back then. Everything you went through to light a cigarette at night, and how to get rid of the smoke and all that. Everything mattered. And then you get back and it's like, so what? I'm going 65 in a 45. So what? I
remember when I got out of policing, same thing. It was funny. After about 6 months, when I came home, the adrenaline, it was almost like you're addicted to it.
Yeah.
And you need to find some way of gaining back that.
That's why I like being in the reserves. I got to do things. I ran rifle ranges and, got to do different infantry things. And it helped get through a lot of stuff.
Right.
Of course, a lot of the guys in our unit were Vietnam vets too. So that was good. We kind of catharted a little bit.
You wrote a book.
Yes, I did.
Zero to Hero, I think it was.
From Bully Kid to Warrior.
What was the other?
Bully Kid to Warrior.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Sure. I'm a history fanatic. I love it. And what I did when they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, so I wrote it. But I wanted to write it as much of a biography as a history. So it's not a rah-rah book. You see my warts. I was a bullied kid back when bullying was, being punched in the face and pushed down the stairs and stuff like that. Not getting your feelings hurt. Not that there's anything, I got my feelings hurt plenty. But I told a story of my younger years when I was bullied and getting through high school and then going into the military and learning that, how to get along with different kinds of people. I mean, I'm a white kid from a white neighborhood. And back then we had World War II barracks. And so you had these, 50 guys in a barracks, 2 squads on each floor. And you had people from the South and the North and, Black people, Hispanic people, all kinds of,
all walks of life.
and you got to get along.
Yeah.
Because if the drill sergeant ain't happy, nobody's going to be happy. And suddenly you had these bigots that suddenly learned how to work together with each other to accomplish a mission. And I saw the same thing moving forward when I went to OCS, Officer Candidate School, and failed out of that after 4 weeks, going to Germany, learning how to work together, and then in Vietnam, where, when nobody cared what color you were, nobody cared where you came from, what your accent was. It was, can I trust you out there in front? If I go to take relieve nature over here behind this bush, can I trust you not to shoot me? So there was that brotherhood that you get in combat. And then you come back and you see all this stuff going on.
I know, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Wow. Well,
But anyway, it's
fascinating books.
It's dealing
Good
with
material.
post-traumatic stress and how I got through that and so on.
Wow. Wow.
You can get it on Amazon.
Awesome. So Amazon, you can find it there.
Yeah.
So the titles again: Zero to Hero,
Zero to Hero, Bully Kid to Warrior.
Bully Kid to Warrior. All right. So for our listeners out there, now you know where to find this book. It'd be an awesome read. So fantastic. So I'll have that book by the end of the week.
Good.
For sure.
Amazon Prime
It's
order.
for sale.
That's where we go find it. Great, great. So it sounds like your foundation is doing pretty well then.
It is. It is. We're going to expand our footprint this year. I went emeritus because it's time for some younger folks to take over. I'm 78 and I'm getting of the age where I'm not as energetic as I was. So my son Brian is the president. Andrew Tangen's on our board. We have some legacy members, John Schwann's daughter Jonna and Paul Bryan's daughter Leslie are all on the board. They're all dynamite people and they want to move this forward. And I am the spiritual leader.
Awesome. I love it.
So now we're going to try to expand our footprint and do some Lynch sponsored events. We want to expand and get into actually doing some things that when I worked for the Attorney General's office, I used to do veteran senior advocacy in malls where we would bring in different organizations. We want to start doing those kind of things and some other stuff to actually get down and get back into that.
So I know, just talking to you, you're busy.
Yeah.
You're going to go down to Kankakee. You're all over the map.
Yeah.
So how do you get there? What funds this? What keeps you, because it can be coming out of your own pocket. You must be funded somehow. You must get some kind of assistance.
Actually, most of the stuff I do for free.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I don't
Just like what we do.
look.
Well, but it's in a different category, different level.
I'm not going to turn money down if someone wants to pay me, but I'm not going to ask for it to go and dedicate a memorial to a World War II veteran.
Right.
That's not the way I was raised.
This is what makes you a national treasure. That is what does it right there.
My wife says I'm a real treasure. She says it with a different tone of voice.
Kind of snarky, isn't it?
I said, do you know who you're talking to? I'm a national treasure. She says, yeah, you're a real treasure.
Oh,
This past June, I had the opportunity to go down to Marseille, that Middle East conflict wall, and that was pretty impressive. That ceremony, I mean, there was bikers for miles for that day. It's always the third Saturday of the month.
where was this now?
In Marseille,
Oh, Marseille. It was,
the guy, the bikers that used to do the Toys for Tots in Chicago
Yeah.
were part of the catalyst that created this wall in Marseille. Because I think there's a National Guard facility out that way. So it's kind of neat because it was, otherwise I would never been out there. I've always heard the name, but it's like, I thought it was by Joliet. It's not, it's a lot further.
Yeah, it's through the hall.
It is.
You know, I was driving a truck out there once, and I decided, you know what, I'm going off route. I went in there and I went over to take a look at that. It's pretty impressive. It's really nicely done.
And we used to go down to Marseille when I was in I think it was the Guard.
Yeah, because they had like some type of small arms range.
Yeah, yeah. And I was down there in the reserves, and we had a lieutenant that really irritated us, was trying to run the range, which is non-commissioned officer business, my business. So he irritated us. So they had the old wooden targets. So we didn't shoot the target. We shot the legs. Irritated him a little bit.
It just was.
Like, you know, a little bit. Well, he was a second lieutenant, and you know, he didn't understand how things work in the military. And if you're an NCO, you run the ranges. That's not officer business. You're range safety. Sit back there, shut your mouth until someone gets hurt, sir.
We'll call you when we need you.
Yeah, sir. That's what I love about the military. You can go, yes, sir, with respect, or you can go, yes, sir, with absolutely no respect.
I know we had a casualty one time, and it was just before we were deploying. We had one of our corpsmen get in a real bad motorcycle accident, and we were on duty, and I was a staff duty, and he was an officer today. And I think says, you know, get the phone call, and of course I've been through this a little bit, and I said, okay, sir, I need you to get up, but I want you to listen to what I'm doing, because I had to call the Division Command Center, and then we had to get everything in place to get the family down there before they pull the plug. And I said, you just watch, so you know if it ever happens to you, this is how this is going to happen. But hey, Lieutenant, you'll get it.
Yeah, and the good ones always want to learn. And I had a lot of good ones in the reserves and on active duty, but there's always the one that's, you know, look what I got, you know. And
Yeah, that and a cup of coffee. What does that get you?
yeah, so we had one that, like,
I just have a question.
yes, sir.
So with the Medal of Honor, for those who are unfamiliar with how many people in the service received those, in 1970, does it feel the same as it does 53 years later?
No,
Putting that medal on.
no, you know, we were mentored by World War II, and the one that really got me, and I've carried it with me since, you know, I think it was the 70 when I got it. Went to the first reunion, and he said that earning the medal is the easy part, wearing it is the hard part, because it's not about you. It's about all the tradition and all the sacrifice that went into this. And, you know, I found that to be true. Though, and it's changed, the mindset has changed, I think. There was a lot of, you know, World War II vets, as much as they irritated me in many ways as a whole, they were a generation that knew how to sacrifice and knew how to, you know, they sacrificed for their kids. You know, that's the way I was raised. My mom and my dad worked 3 jobs sometimes. He'd work, you know, his regular job, work at night, and then on the weekends would find something else, because back then it was, you know, men worked and raised families, and mom stayed home to do mom stuff, which was, you know, very important. It's just an attitude change. You know, we're in a weird situation right now with young men and women.
Well,
They don't know who they are anymore.
Back in World War II, I think that the difference, you know, is they grew up in the Depression, where they had crap for life. So going into service and going to war probably was actually a highlight of, hey, it's better. They got their 3 hots and a cot, and they already had a tough life.
One of the recipients, I can't remember his name, told the story of he got home from high school, and he was from Southern Illinois, and his dad met him at the end of the driveway with a hobo pack, had some food, very little money, and said, we can't raise you. We can't take care of you. You have to go on the bum. And he went on the bum. He actually, I think, enlisted in California. He wrote a book called The Incident on Hill 869 in Italy. But that's what they were raised on. And, you know, when I was raised, my grandkids used to drive me crazy because they would go, I don't like the texture. And it's like, you know, mom cooked it, you ate it, shut your mouth. That's it. And now it's
I remember those days.
we don't like to eat that kind of stuff. It's like, really? Have you ever been hungry? No, you've never been hungry. You know, my mom told me about depression bread, which was flour and sawdust.
Right.
You know, and having chicken on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and chicken soup on Wednesday, because that's how poor we were. So now you get these kids that have no idea of what hardship is. I'm a partner in the Jersey Mike's, and a lot of white kids, they've got the silver spoon. They don't want to work. They don't want to go out and get a job and know what it's like to actually work hard for things. Mommy and daddy give them an iPhone, put them in the basement with a computer, and they play games. And, you know, very few kids know how to really get out there and work.
Mhm.
What's interesting is the relationship that the younger generation has with their employers these days. Usually an employer, you know, to me, the relationship is you work for me, I pay you for it. That's a little reward.
Yeah.
There. So we have a business relationship.
Yeah.
Not today.
No.
Now the kids are saying, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
And they usually have about 7 jobs before they finally settle into one.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason why they get out of these jobs is, well, I didn't like my boss.
Yeah, I didn't feel
I'm
right.
like, wow, this is a
I have
totally
to find
different
myself.
mindset. Yeah. Crazy.
I was told when I got graduated high school, my dad said, congratulations, rent's due the first of the month.
Yeah.
I got fired from my first job because I sat on my butt when it wasn't break time working in a factory. And I got home. My dad happened to work there at night. So I got home and my dad gets home from work and he says, how'd you got fired? I says, yeah. He says, that's too bad. He says, rent's due at the first of the month. So I went out and got another job, got fired from that. That I lasted 3 weeks. Then I smarted off to my foreman. He said, bye-bye. So I got another job and I paid rent until I went in the Army.
Was it the sausage thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was when I first worked for Libby's. I was loading boxcars and trucks. And I decided I was going to get drafted anyway. I said, I'm going to control my life. I'm going to join the Army. Boy, am I smart.
That's right.
I'll show
My
you.
brother did the same thing for the same reason.
Yeah, I didn't even wait for the first of the month. I was already at boot camp.
But you know, that was one of the best experiences of my life, was being in the military, learning that I could push myself farther than I ever thought I could. I learned to run and sing at the same time.
That's pretty cool.
It was just, you know, the
Well,
greatest
we're
experience.
down to the last minute.
One.
Well,
minute.
Al, we're
Kilo
glad,
points.
you know, your name came up because Veterans Day is coming up. And we turn around, we got to have Al come out here, you know, because it's Veterans Day.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, they kind of mix it up between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. You know, Memorial Day is for those who have fallen, passed. Veterans Day is for everybody else,
Yeah.
you know, that served. Whether you're in combat or not, we got to remember. And the thing is, our family needs to come together.
Yeah.
Quick story. I had a couple Army guys give me a hard time because I would do that URA stuff at work. When a Marine leaves and goes URA.
Mhm.
And he turned around and said, what's this URA crap? So as he was leaving the office, at the unemployment office, there's another Army guy. He says, oh, wait a minute. I said, you have a problem. Legs don't talk to parachute guys, and then they don't talk to artillery.
Yeah.
I said, but you guys can, if you guys learn how to do that, you can have what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's, you know, the camaraderie, the Veterans Day, we need
Our
to come together.
discharge says honorable. There's no qualifier. You go where you're told to go. You do what you're told to do. If you go to combat, great. But for every person in combat, there's got to be a cook in the back. There's got to be someone delivering supplies. There's
Right.
got to be someone writing up your orders, getting you paid,
There's like 10
getting
or
stuff
12
over here.
people
Right.
behind
Motor
that
T.
person.
Yeah. So this
I
idea of
am motor T.
More,
You got lost.
Got thrown more
I
to
think my
motor T.
contracted that one out.
All
Well,
right.
we're glad you
That's
were here
very
today, Al.
Happy to
Very,
be
very
here.
glad
Thank
to
you for
have you
being
here. So
Awesome.
This was fun.
yes, it was fantastic. So we're gonna wrap it up now. But thank you very much for showing up here.
Truly.
And if you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, and the like button for YouTube because it helps out with the algorithm. And also check us out on Apple, Spotify, Twitch, Twitter. What else did I miss everything? Okay. And thank you to our producers, 216 The Net. And behind the camera, Kent Jones.
And for all you veterans out there that haven't come home yet, there's a plenty of American Legions, AMVETS, VFW, Fleet Reserve, Navy League, Marine Corps League. Depending, you can find a home with somebody. Come on out.
And our next show is going to be on November the 16th. We're going to be talking about the Toys for Tots, which is run by the coordinator in this entire area from MAG 48. Gunnery Sergeant Walter Hawkins is going to be our special guest. But in the meantime, we certainly do want to say thank you so much, Al, for being here.
Pleasure.
It's awesome. This is just beautiful stuff. I love it. So thank you for watching our show. And once again, visit us online. Throw some comments in there and subscribe. You guys have a wonderful day. Happy Veterans Day this weekend. And for the Marines,
Hoorah!
happy birthday.
Rock, kill bodies.
Happy birthday, Marine.